ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Two Dudes with Attitudes Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Jason, and this is
John.
I want to welcome everybody back to this is episode 3. It's crazy that we're here now already. Pretty excited how things have gone so far. How you doing tonight, bud?
Well, a few technical difficulties. We're getting this going.
Yeah, seems like we got some bad weather going on around here, so we're trying to get this to work the best we can. But yeah, we're a little over. By the time this comes out, we'll be right about a week away from Summerslam. I know we're excited about it. There's a lot of chit chat on what possibly could be going down. Who might show up. What titles may change. It's interesting to see. Like I said, we're about a week away. And then, like I said, tonight it's Thursday, but tomorrow night, AEW's Rampage will be airing for the first episode. Excited to see, how that's going to go. It's going to be after Smackdown, so it should be better, for the ratings wise, but just be interesting to see how they do for their first show. So.
Oh yeah, I mean they got it packed up pretty good, man. Really, they've got just like 3 title matches scheduled for tomorrow night on Rampage. Man, they've got the TNT titles on the line for Miro versus Fugo, and we've got Dr. Britt Baker versus Red Velvet for the Women's Championship. And we've got, which is it's kind of a little odd, but we've got Kenny Omega as putting the Impact Championship title on the line against Christian Cage.
Huh.
Now those 2 are scheduled at All Out for the AEW title,
right?
Omega, Christian Cage. So
right.
Yeah, they got a pretty stacked first night, man.
Yeah. Now is that show? It's just an hour, correct?
Yeah, it's just an hour.
Okay, that's what I thought so too. So, but yeah, another exciting week of wrestling. I don't think it's was as action-packed filled, with last week with Bray Wyatt, Ric Flair, and all that going on. But there has been some new updates going on. I know you said something earlier that you were going to talk about with Keith Lee. There was some breaking news tonight.
Yeah. Actually, it came out earlier this afternoon, but everybody's been speculating about what happened to Keith Lee earlier in the year. He just kind of disappeared before the Royal Rumble.
Yep.
And he put a video out on his YouTube channel today. It was about 6 minutes long, and I actually watched it. I found it. Sportskeeda had actually reported about it, and I actually went and watched the video.
Yeah.
But he revealed that he was gone due to COVID. He got COVID the latter part of January, and that he got over it, but they found inflammation around his heart.
Oh wow!
So
pretty scary.
Yeah, they said that he couldn't even do anything. He couldn't even but a light walk, and that was about it. He couldn't work out, couldn't do nothing. And then they did another MRI on him, and it got worse. And at one point, he was going to have, he might have heart disease, and
right.
He was in bad shape, And then the company, I guess, they sent him to Pittsburgh for another MRI or an evaluation, and it got better, and they cleared him.
Right.
So, and then they were speculating that his girlfriend, I can't remember her name off the top of my head.
Yeah.
They said that she gave it to him, which was false. He said it was inaccurate. In actuality, she missed out on the Royal Rumble, the women's side of it, to take care of him. And so it was interesting for that.
Yeah, you hate to hear that. From him being on Raw for a few weeks now, so it's glad to see that he is doing better, and but that is scary. That really is. So, but like I said, glad to see he's back. Glad to see he's doing a lot better. He didn't have to really go on there and explain himself to everybody, but it, like I said, it does clear things up a little bit. But like I said,
it silences the critics.
Right.
speaking of critics and things of that nature, um, they have been, last week we talked about on the last week's podcast, we talked about that Adam Cole from NXT was, his contract was ending after SummerSlam, after
Yep.
NXT 36, which he's going to have a match at the NXT 36 takeover against Kevin O'Reilly. But anyways, so after we went off the air from doing our podcast, it was released that night he was invited to Smackdown to talk to Vince McMahon in a meeting
Yep.
about contract, and they offered this man $1 million a year
Yeah.
to stay at WWE. Now, as we're recording this now, he has not accepted that offer from them. So, very interesting to see how it's going to play out. If you're, a big Adam Cole fan or you follow NXT, something to keep an eye on. They really want some reason. I'm not really sure. Again, I'm not a big follower of Adam Cole, so I don't really know
right.
Why Vince McMahon loves him so much, but they do, and they want to pay him $1 million a year. So
big number.
Yeah, that's something to keep an eye on. That's for sure.
Yeah, I was on Sportskeeda looking, and there's some rumors going around that AEW has offered him a contract as well.
Really? I haven't heard that yet.
Yeah, it says right here, currently feuding with this. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, there's been a lot of talk regarding Vince showing great interest in him to bring him to the main roster. However, Dave Meltzer of One has offered Adam Cole, AEW's offered Adam Cole a contract. He hasn't made any decision, of course, but that's intriguing to see what could come about on that.
Right.
But yeah, like I said, I don't follow too much NXT, but it sounds like for two different companies, they're offering him that that he's a pretty big name that that they really want to keep around.
So, yeah, definitely.
It'll be interesting to see what comes out. I did read, and I don't know if you saw it either. I saw something about it the other day. I'm actually looking at it right now too. That WWE is still trying to hope that Daniel Bryan's going to return.
Yeah, I did read something about that tonight about Daniel Bryan,
which is wild, because I thought the big rumors was that he was going to AEW, but evidently there hasn't been no decision made. I guess from what we're seeing and what we're not seeing.
They said that they wanted AEW still wanted to sign Daniel Bryan, but from what I understand tonight, from what I've read and actually watched somebody do a YouTube video on it.
Yeah.
There's he's not going back to WWE.
Well, they're saying on here that some sources have said he's already signed a deal, but
yeah, he's that's what they said. He's already signed a deal with AEW. It's locked and loaded, so it's just a matter of when he debuts for them.
Right.
It's interesting for them to want to get him back all of a sudden, considering what he wanted. So, what do you take of that? Why all of a sudden are they really wanting Daniel Bryan back all of a sudden?
I don't know. I've expressed my opinion on Daniel Bryan. I've never really was a big fan of him. I don't know what the big hype was about him. I think he is a great technical wrestler. There's no doubt about that. But I don't know. It's like over everything that's happened with him the last few years with his injuries and all that. They've brought him here and there, but then they just let all this go and let him do his own decision. But why now? Why try to bring him back? Because if they're pushing for this whole that they want to keep with the the younger generation, he's I don't think he's that old, but he's had a lot of injuries. But I don't know. What are they afraid of if he goes to AEW? Because I feel like if he does go to AEW, that he's not most likely going to perform, on a nightly basis. But
right, yeah.
But I don't know. That is a good question, to be honest.
I don't know why all of a sudden they're wanting him back all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Especially you brought up the younger talent thing a while ago, and as many of and I'm not changing the subject. This kind of falls right in line with what we're talking about as
Right.
far as, younger talent. You said, the same night that we were podcast, during Smackdown, they released a dozen of NXT talent
Yep. Yep.
from, try to keep us quiet so it wouldn't, give them another black eye, I guess you
Right.
could say. But they released, about a dozen people. Two people I recognized. One of them was Branson Reed, who honestly was getting ready to supposedly go to the main roster. And then another one, Mercedes. I don't remember her last name, but she's
Right.
been there for quite some time. But reported through Frightful Select, they said that Vince and John Laurinaitis and Bruce Pritchard was behind all that.
Yeah, that's what I
Triple
heard
H and
too.
Shawn had nothing to do with it. It's interesting that that took place, because now they're saying they're talking about rebranding the company for NXT. They're talking, they want them to be no older than 29,
Right.
And they got to be, kind of the big guy, like the Roman Reigns guys, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
So, I found that interesting, and I really don't know. I just read tonight for this podcast that Triple H was in charge of this Tuesday night show, this NXT, but they don't what his capacity is going to be in NXT anymore.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. I mean, I know it. Vince McMahon comes down to all the final decision making on contracts and all that, but storylines I don't think he's affecting in. But I don't know. It's just weird times right now. I mean, I don't get what's going on in wrestling. I mean, as we talked the other day, I told you I'm wondering if WWE's going a different direction on what they're going to start doing from now on. Now, to bring back Bray Wyatt, we've learned a little bit more over the last week that, they did say that there hasn't been no mental issues, no personal problems. I think it really just comes down to creative and him and Vince McMahon. There's been a lot of talks that him and Vince didn't really have that great of a relationship, that they were up and down. But I don't know. That was still a shocker to me. He has been pretty quiet on social media. He did update. He did put a picture on Instagram, but they don't really say much about it. It just it's kind of cryptic. That's just how he is, though. So.
Oh, did you talk about the one that said you can't kill it?
Yeah, and then he put the picture on there. So.
Yeah, it's a very interesting picture. So.
How'd you feel about Raw Monday night? Do you feel like it did any better with Randy Orton coming back? You're glad to see Orton?
I was glad to see Orton come back. I wish it would have been more of a secret, but like you talked, it was the ratings, try to get the ratings boosted.
Yeah.
I was glad to see him come back, but I'm a little confused on the direction they're going with that. If you didn't watch Raw, spoiler alert, most people probably watched it by now.
Yeah.
But he came back, and then he RKO'd Riddle at the end of the night after he won the match against Styles.
Yeah.
And then he was kind of laughing, and then Riddle was laying in the ring with a big smile on his face after he just got dropped.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was intentional or if that just the way it went down, just because it just went down.
Right.
But man, I'll be honest with you, it's another boring Raw. I mean, there was nothing to make me just so excited. I mean, to see Randy Orton come back was great, but I mean, they really didn't do nothing with it.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I think overall it was okay. I mean, I'm glad to see Orton back. My opinion is they're going to build the matchup between him and Riddle and, Omos and Styles, which I think they're going to give Orton and them the title belts. So I think they're going to keep this going for a little bit. There was video, I don't know if you saw it, that after the show, John Cena came out. Did you see that?
I think I read something about it. He did come out after.
He came out right after they went off the air and came in the ring, and him, Riddle, and Orton all hugged together, and then Orton and Riddle left. It seems like they focused more this Raw on Orton and his return. But it, like I said, there wasn't nothing, too major, spectacular on Raw that that really wanted to make you change your mind or look forward to something else. Like I said, it was mainly about Orton and his return.
We had the same matches again, dude. We had, for instance, we had what was it, Damian Priest and Sheamus. Damian Priest and John Morrison. My apologies.
Right.
We had that match. It's like the 8th time they fought.
Yeah. How you feel about what they're doing with Baron Corbin? You think that's silly? What do you think they?
I don't know, man. Like it's just an oddball character to have. I mean, he's basically a homeless wrestler that's he's supposedly broke. Okay.
Right.
But yet he's still able to travel to around the country for all these events.
Right.
I don't like it. I mean,
I don't either.
He lost his crown, and that's what he's crying about. And then they got King. To me, that whole King thing just needs to go bye.
Right.
But no, I don't. I don't know. Some people say it's good for him to go this direction, turn, I guess, babyface or something. But to me, it's just something to do with him because they've got nobody else.
Right. Yeah. I don't. It's a very odd character. I just I wonder if they have an end result or if it's just going to be one of those things. They're just using it for now, and then they're just going to fizz it out and and send him off for a couple weeks or whatever. About a month, and then bring him back as a new character. But unless they're going to try and pull something, where he's going to come into some money, you know what I'm saying, and turn the whole thing around and go something where. But kind of an odd situation.
Yeah, I agree with you there. What do you think about more about Bobby Lashley and them just trash talking Goldberg, and yet Goldberg's not there again? I mean, what do you think about this? I mean, we're almost to SummerSlam. We're it'll be a week away from SummerSlam.
Yeah.
I mean,
I wish, if you're going to have a main guy there, I mean, I know he's getting paid to only do so many appearances, but, why not have him show up every Raw? I mean, they can maybe skip one, you know what I'm saying, because depending on what they're going to do, but, because they're kind of doing the same thing with John Cena on Smackdown. He hasn't been there on every single show, but I don't know. I mean, we our opinion on how we feel about Goldberg and just the match in general. I really think we ought to figure out an over/under, and we should do some kind of bet on this. Does the match go over under 4 minutes and 45 seconds?
I don't know. Maybe we should do it during the pre-show.
Yeah.
On the first, for SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Talking about doing that Saturday, and that way we can maybe have some, live audiences in the video with us, so we try to get some over and unders.
So everybody that's listening right now, we are going to be doing the pre-show for SummerSlam. Last time when we did it for Money in the Bank, we did it for right about an hour. We'll see what's going on. Maybe we can do it like an hour before the pre-show and then go into the pre-show, just to see how it goes. Just to kind of, we're not 100% sure yet as of right now, but we may have a guest with us. We got somebody in talks that we've actually, it's a real good friend of mine. I've known him almost 30 years now. He's the one that actually got me into wrestling. But back then when we first started talking about doing this podcast, he was going to join us, and it was going to be a trio thing, but with the schedules and everything, it's not worked out that way. But we're hoping to be able to have him on time to time. He's wanting to, he's got a lot of insight too about with wrestling, and he watches it closely too. So that that should be cool to bring more people in like that from time to time. So
definitely.
But yeah, for sure, we're going to do something for SummerSlam. And like I said, we're going to talk about a couple things off the mic and everything on what we might, something fun we might do that night. But yeah, that should be fun.
Hey, what do you think about the upcoming SummerSlam pay-per-view? They're on the card now. We know they're having the match, so first time ever. From what I understand, the way they keep talking, Edge versus Rollins.
Yeah, I actually think, like, honestly, I'm not looking forward to that match. Not that I don't. I actually think it could possibly be the best match of the night, to be honest. Because I think they can make it a hell of a match. I'm not looking so much forward to it because I guess there's not really much, you know, much in there for that match to really have it. You know, there's not. I mean, I know there's been a history of them like that, and I get that, but overall, there's no end game to it. You know what I'm saying? But will they end this feud at this pay per view? Will it keep going? I don't know. But I am curious though what they will do with next with Edge. Because after this, I wonder if he could possibly be drafted to Raw. That'd be an interesting. Now thinking about it, like
Yeah.
that'd be a fresh face to put on Raw for sure.
Oh, definitely. And that's the draft's coming up in the fall. It was originally scheduled for the end of this month in August, and the first Smackdown of September.
Yep.
But they changed it until I think October now. I think.
Yeah, that's been last I heard is they were looking at the beginning of October, but I mean, you know how things go; it can change. So.
Oh yeah. That brings up kind of gets us going with this other question. Um, just a second. But it kind of involves SummerSlam. So here we go. All right. Now the day I was reading on the internet, sheets as I call them, to see what's going on, any new new drama, any new
Right.
anything about wrestling. And I stumbled across the thing, and the question was, do you think Big E will cash in at SummerSlam?
Well, from what you're saying, you read stuff. I actually read something today. I actually just read it a few minutes ago too. But Borchkelia said it, and I think a couple other websites have said it too. But as of right now, there's no plans for him to cash in. I don't think so. I actually think they're going to use Big E. I mean, like I said, I've already said my opinion. I think he's going to Raw and he's going to cash in on Bobby Lashley. But I don't think he'll cash in like after a match. I think he might actually like do it like a legit way and maybe ask for a match like that. But I don't know. I don't know. But like I said, I don't. From all the reports, he's not going to do it at SummerSlam. But last things, everything can change last minute. I'd be okay with it. But if they do it, you have to make that the main event when he does it because I don't think he's going to get that big pop if you do it in the middle of the card instead of the end of the night.
Right, I agree. I don't think he will, and I read too the same thing that there's no plans for him to cash in at SummerSlam. And just so everybody knows as well. All right, Becky Lynch is going to be at SummerSlam, but there's no plans for her to return to SummerSlam. Their plans for her is to return in the fall.
Yeah.
And my guess is she's probably going to go to SmackDown.
I think so too.
During the draft. So, that's the funny thing about WWE, man, right now is, we they talk about they think the Big E's SmackDown.
Right.
My whole thing is now you're going with the draft. We have I don't know. I just, the thing about it is, the anticipation for Becky Lynch to come back and to where she goes is going to make, to me, it's going to make a huge deal for the women's division on where she goes. You know what I mean?
I mean, I do get along with that. But from our sense of view, from what we're reading on the backside of everything, it does kind of get tiresome that it's like that's all we hear about now. When's Becky Lynch going to return? It's like usually you hear about it and then it happens pretty fairly quick after that. But we've been hearing about it for a couple months now and still nothing. But
Well, because you get these people that report and say, well, she's going to be backstage.
Yeah, that makes
Well,
you
okay.
already
I mean,
assume. Yeah,
that's great. She's going to be back there, but
yeah, I thought that was kind of funny too. Whenever they're doing, I'm like, because they were like, "Oh, big name's going to be at SummerSlam." I'm like, I would already assume that she was going to be there regardless if she showed up or not. Anyways, I mean,
right.
but yeah,
Well, I mean, we're having a WrestleMania match too at SummerSlam.
yeah,
Banks versus Belair.
yeah,
Um, I mean, I'm glad to see them. I'm glad to see the match.
right,
they're gonna give it their all. Okay.
yeah,
Um, I don't think it's gonna be main event at SummerSlam. They're not gonna do that at SummerSlam.
no,
They got their time to shine at WrestleMania, and apparently it went over well. Because everybody was talking about it.
right,
First ever women's main event at WrestleMania, which again I'm not knocking these athletes, these women athletes. I am not at all, because they are just as good as the men can do when it comes to their division of the sport. You know.
yeah, absolutely.
So, um, um, let me ask you this question now. Okay, so let's jump to SmackDown. Last week on SmackDown, we recorded last Friday, so what we're is from last Friday on SmackDown. Roman Reigns, Finn Balor came out blaming John Cena for him not getting his shot at the title at SummerSlam.
Right.
Even though Corbin attacked him. But do you think, because after we all know Reigns came out and beat the snot out of Finn Balor
Right.
at the end of the night. So let me ask you this question: could this lead up to a triple threat at SummerSlam?
Yeah, we've had a lot of talks on this already. The only logical reason we've talked about as to why it would happen is for the fact that they want to protect John Cena, because he is making the movie, and he's literally going right into the movie after SummerSlam, which would make a lot more sense. As I've told you, my biggest thing is I want that match to just be a one-on-one, because I think it could be a very good match. This is the perfect timing. Yes, we've seen Cena and Reigns fight before, but Reigns wasn't in the superior power as he was, now, how he is on TV. But I like Finn Balor too. I like his style. There's a lot of good reasons to bring him into the match, not only just to protect John Cena, but to also, have somebody get pinned, use Finn Balor to get pinned, and that could possibly set up for something, down the road. But like I said, I hope it's a one-on-one. But the problem is, here we are, we got 2 Smackdowns left, so something's going to have to either happen, tomorrow night on SmackDown or next Friday. But if he doesn't get put into the triple threat, then that most likely, leaves him without a match at SummerSlam.
Oh yeah, I agree.
But I don't think we've really discussed this. But if he doesn't get put in the match, do they go the route of him coming out and costing somebody to lose at SummerSlam?
Well, I mean, they could. I guess you could go that route. I mean, if they did it, it's going to be Cena probably.
Yeah. Which I've already said before too, that could set up a feud with them down the road.
Right. I agree there.
They want to have a match with them too. Never really been on talks about that, but
right.
But it's anything's possible there. But
well, I think that if they, if it is a one-on-one match and it's Roman Reigns versus Cena, which I'm with you. I would like to see a one-on-one match, but going triple threat just to protect Cena.
Right.
I think that it would, Reigns would have to win clean. I think if he would beat Cena, that's gonna elevate Reigns over the top. It's gonna really just pronounce his character over the top. If like you said, they have the triple threat match and then somebody else gets pinned and costs Roman the title, then that would on the belt before Cena departs. So, that's an interesting way to look at it. I'd hate for it to end in an interference. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody
Correct.
come out and interfered. It's just this, everybody keeps saying this is the biggest pay per view of the year. Like it's even bigger than WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's what they were talking about for a while. They wanted to make it this year's WrestleMania. Now let me ask you, would they see? I don't know. Like we've already had a triple threat because we had the triple threat at WrestleMania. Are they going to try and pull the same thing where Roman Reigns, pins both of them, lays them on top of each other, and pins both of them again if they end up going that route?
I was just honestly, I was just thinking about that when you were talking. I was like, man, are we gonna have another stack them, pin them, and thing? I mean, I would hope that would be the route they would go.
It just like it feels to me that they could save Finn Balor till his next feud,
Right.
Because if he does get put in the match and they both get beat and Reigns wins, well then you're automatically taking Balor out of the picture because why would you want to give him another shot when he just got that shot again? And there's a feud that you're shooting right past real quick.
Well, it's almost like they're used contender almost because Rollins keeps saying that he's gonna be the next one in line for that belt.
Yeah.
So could that be their next go? Is say Seth beats Edge or Edge beats they're gonna go that route.
The only problem is they don't do bad guy versus bad guy very often, and I don't see them going that route again. But
then if that was the case, and you're looking at Edge to win, and go against Reigns, which people want that. They want that one-on-one match. They have not gotten their one-on-one with Edge and Reigns.
Yeah, no, I agree there.
I mean that could set up a potential match after SummerSlam, depending on how this goes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just leaning towards that triple threat.
Everything's making it look like it's going that way, but
you never know. They could change it.
Yeah, something's going to have to happen on Smackdown tomorrow night for them to, to set something up. I mean, I don't see why they would wait till the next Friday. The only thing I can think of is they're putting Balor in the picture to see how the fans will react, to maybe see, if they like it, if they want it. You know what I'm saying? That
right.
Just to get a feel from the crowd to see, what the crowd likes about it, and if the crowd's really feeling it, then they might change it last minute. But
all right. Well, let's take a little trip on over to AEW for just a minute. I know last night was the fourth leg of the Jericho adventures we've been seeing on AEW, and low last night, which was MJF's like bodyguard, I guess you could say.
Right.
Well, anyway, so that was for the night, and it was okay. He hit the Judas effect and then he ended up winning the match. But now he gets to face MJF, okay, in his fifth leg of Jericho. And I was really hoping that they would have done some inner circle or something.
Right.
But it wasn't. So he gets to fight MJF. Right. Now the stipulations for that match is he can't have this is odd. Okay, tell me this isn't odd. MJF says he cannot have his intro music, which the fans all sing if you've ever watched it come out.
Yeah, right.
And he cannot hit the Judas effect to win the match.
I can understand the finisher part of it, the audience part. I mean, the crowd. The entrance music's kind of weird. I guess they just don't want the crowd to hype up Jericho to get that hype. To give him get him more excited for the match. But now are they saving it to the pay-per-view, or are they just going to put it on the regular TV show?
It's going to be on Dynamite next week.
Okay.
I would have thought they would have saved it for the pay-per-view, but
I wonder if they'll pull something where they won't have the full match or something. I don't know. That's how AEW's been though. They don't really save these kind of matches for their pay-per-views as much, like you said, because there's not as many pay-per-views through the year like WWE has.
right. Well, the thing about it is too is like, last night on AEW, tag team champions, okay,
Right.
defended the against Dark Order.
Huh.
I thought that was an interesting change.
Decision that they went.
Yeah, because and the one thing too, I said that Christian Cage, tomorrow night or whatever versus Mega for the Impact World Heavyweight Championship belt,
Right.
you know, and then next week Jurassic Express goes up against the Young Bucks for their tag team titles. They're the number one contenders for that. But what I don't understand is why we're having a Christian Cage Omega
Yeah, that is weird.
for the AEW title. I don't what I don't know. I thought we were going to get the Hangman Page and Omega match at the pay per view because we're tag team buddies and everything, and then they just kind of I won't say they squashed it, but they kind of changed course on that whole storyline. So, but that's interesting. They had a couple of other good matches lined up for next week on Dynamite, but this Dynamite here to me wasn't as good as some other Dynamites that we've seen.
Yeah.
All in all, it was better than Raw. I'll say that.
Yeah, like I said, this whole week of wrestling hasn't really been nothing too wild, for TV wise. I know we talked the other day talking about SummerSlam. How do we feel about SummerSlam now compared to how we felt, before we knew a lot of the matches that were permanent? There seemed to be a lot more excitement for it. Now it's not as much. I think the card is very well stacked. I think there's a lot of good matches on there. I think it'll be a worthy show. I think a lot of people will come out happy with the way they're going to go on some of the route, probably. But I do have a feeling that some of these matches are just going to lead to the next pay per view with rematches.
Are you talking about SummerSlam, right?
Yeah, after SummerSlam,
okay.
It'll lead to probably some rematches for the next pay per view.
Which I hate.
I know, it's like, what's the whole point of? I don't know. Like, I understand, like, if a title changes and they want to do the rematch, like, that's fine, but there's no reason to just, especially to some of these matches that don't make sense. Now, I think we both assume that Nikki Ash is probably going to walk out champion. Do you think they'll go a whole new route after this and take Charlotte and Ruby out of the equation? Or do you think they'll keep one of them in or totally, go with a different diva?
I really hope that it ends this feud with them. Had them for I forget how many weeks of Raw, like at least 3 weeks of Raw. It's been the same thing. I don't really have anybody to go to in the singles competition of the women's division. I mean, that was discussed tonight. On it today, they were talking about 5 simple things that they could change on Raw to make things better. Going. One of them was quit doing rematch after rematch, the same people fight.
Correct.
When they were talking about the women's. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, guys, just bear with us. We're still having a little bit of technical difficulties. If the audio is cutting in and out, just let y'all know. Go ahead, bud.
Oh, okay. So I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully it ends.
Yeah. No, they need to. Yeah, they got to go some different directions after this. Let's change it up a little bit. Something that I want to maybe do. I know we didn't talk about this, so I'm coming off the fly with this. But something we can do from time to time. We don't have to do it every week. But let's kind of do some favorites of ours. And then people that are listening. We'd love to hear what yours would be. You don't have to give a top 5. You can give just 1 or 2. But we'll keep it simple this week. Let's do your top 5 wrestlers of all time, your favorite wrestlers. Who would you say your top 5 is, John?
Uh, um,
I know I'm throwing you this at you quick, so you're gonna have to think on this on the fly.
okay, I'm gonna say my top 5 wrestlers of all time. Uh, Triple H being one of them.
You just gonna
Man,
put?
you know,
Are you just gonna put 5 in, or are you gonna do it like who's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? How are you going? However you want to do it.
all right. So I'm gonna go with number 5. I'm gonna say, um, man, that's a tough one, man. You really got me mixed up here. Crap. Uh, let's see here. My number 5 person, I'm gonna say one of my favorite wrestlers of all times was I'm gonna say the Undertaker.
Undertaker. Okay.
I think he was really good with his when he did his own, obviously the Undertaker's thing, and then corporate ministry and like that persona.
Right. Okay, I'll do my number 5. We'll go back and forth and then do it that way.
That'll work.
My number 5 would probably be just because they had some awesome matches together. I mean, my number 5 I'm gonna probably put it Bret Hart.
It's a good one, definitely. Let's see, my number 4 guy now. I must say my number 4 guy of all time would be The Rock.
The Rock. Okay, that's good. Number
I
4.
love him.
Yeah. My number 4. Man, that is a good question. I'm gonna have to go with I'm gonna go Randy Orton. Even though he's still in wrestling now, which is fine, but
Right.
he would be mine.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Let's see here now. My number 3 guy. Number 3. I'm gonna say the guy of all time is gonna be, man. I'm gonna say Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels. That is a good one. That is very good. I honestly I don't have Shawn in my top 5 anymore. Even though I grew up when I think him and Triple H with the DX was amazing. But my number 3. Oh wow, man. I was gonna put this guy at number 2, but I'm just gonna go ahead and put him number 3. I'm gonna put number 3 as The Rock.
The Rock.
The Rock, yeah.
All right. Man, I gotta go number 2 now, don't I? Man.
Number 2.
Number 2, you know what? I'm gonna change it up. My favorite time number 2 is CM Punk.
That is a very yes. Yep. Overall, he's a hell of a wrestler. Microphone, personality, and everything.
Oh yeah, especially his famous pipe bomb promo.
Right. Man, my number 2. Like, it shouldn't be that hard to think about it. I mean, I already know my number 1 is. I ain't worried about that. And honestly, like I said, and none of us have said it, and I don't know what your number 1 is, but nobody said Stone Cold. But when I grew up watching wrestling, I always told myself that I would never like Stone Cold. I don't know why. It was just one thing I never did. I'm more of a bad guy kind of person than I am good. But my number 2. Man, that is a good question. Let's go. Who did I have? So I had at 5. I had. All right, yeah. After really thinking about it, I'm gonna put my number 2 as Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, I mean, it really put a lot in perspective when I was sitting there thinking about it for a minute. So it just only makes sense with the DX era.
I guess it's number 1.
Number one.
Number 1.
Is it the same guy that's in your T-shirt? Speaking of, that's John's new T-shirt he got.
No, it's not. It's not John Cena.
Oh
no,
man, no hustle, no loyalty.
See me, and you probably really can't. But anyway, my number 1 of all time is Triple H.
My number one is Triple H.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yes, that has always been. I think anybody that knows me knows that that's always been like it.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you
all,
what.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, of all the people I've met in wrestling, that is the one person I've always wanted to meet, and I have not had the opportunity. My title belt back there has a bunch of signatures from Shawn Michaels to Randy Orton, Jim Ross. Yeah, Jim Ross. I know I went from left wing to right wing. But I have Stephanie McMahon sign that belt, but no Triple H. I ain't even had the opportunity. But I'm hoping to get that eventually. So
definitely. Guys, if you want to send us your top 5 wrestlers of all time, you can send it to us at tudeswithattitudes97@gmail.com. We'd love to hear what your all's top 5 wrestlers of all time are.
Yeah, like I said, if you can't think of 5 like we just had troubles with, you can do your top 3. We're just interested to see what. I think that'll show us based on everybody's answers, like who watches more current and who watched more, Attitude Era days.
Right.
I mean, as you can tell by our answers, we didn't put no Hulk Hogan and Macho Man and them in there. Like I said, I didn't really start watching it until about 1993. So I know the wrestlers, but I didn't really grow up to their peak days.
Right.
But that was really a hard one, though, because, I mean, I really wanted to put Batista in there. I wanted to put Razor Ramon because I loved Razor Ramon. Batista is one of my all-time favorite. Like, I watched him when he was wrestling in OVW in Jeffersonville as Leviathan, and to see where he's at now. Brock Lesnar. I almost thought maybe you're number one, or not number one, but one of your top 5 was actually I thought was going to be Roman Reigns, and only because of how he is now.
Right. I thought about it, but he just got this character as far as his whole heel thing, and I took a better liking to him as a heel.
Right,
so maybe the longer he stays that, he might, if we go back to this, a few years down,
right,
he may definitely make it. So yeah, it was an interesting thing right there, buddy. That was hard.
We'll try to we just do a couple random ones from time to time. We can just to kind of get our feel and what we like, and hopefully we can get people to comment on what they to get some interaction on what they enjoy too. So,
and let me ask you a question. And I know we talked about this, and I want the listeners too. I want to get their opinions too. Again, you can email us at tudeswithattitudes97@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you all about our podcast and your responses to tudeswithattitudes97@gmail.com. So, Jay.
all right, guys. John's having a little bit more technical difficulties. So
am I back? Am I back?
Yeah, you're good. Go ahead.
Later. Let me ask you a question. With since we talked about Cena and CM Punk could possibly make his debut next week on Rampage, being in Chicago for SummerSlam, do you think if he does debut that night, do you think that'll take away from SummerSlam in some sense?
See, we talked about that. Yeah, we talked about that, and that I didn't really think about that going in until we actually said that, and that puts a whole new perspective on things. Yes, I mean, I really think that it could make it interesting, depending on what they do with Punk. Depending on, I mean, if he just shows up but doesn't do a whole lot, then maybe not. But I don't know. Like, I think it can make it very intriguing. It would have everybody talking, but then does WWE have that planned just in case that if something does happen like that? Are they planning a big finish for SummerSlam?
Oh, that's very true. They could.
Like, what's weird to me, and I don't know, do you feel like it's weird that they're having SummerSlam on Saturday and the NXT pay-per-view on Sunday? Do you feel like they should have reversed it and put the NXT on Saturday and the SummerSlam on Sunday?
Yeah, I do. I don't know if they're doing it because maybe SummerSlam's going to be longer than 3 hours.
Right.
So maybe that's why they're going that route. I mean, I haven't.
Yeah.
But you know, I think it is weird because there's a boxing pay per view that night for Pacquiao and somebody else.
That is true.
So maybe they found that they got more viewers on night.
Right.
Because they are trying to get the younger audiences. So in order maybe to do that, they have the pay per view on. I mean, honestly, I'd rather have it on Saturday.
No, I agree. I just wonder. Well,
But
I mean, we had WrestleMania Saturday and Sunday, but I wonder if they're just testing this out, being a big pay per view, how it would do on Saturdays.
Oh, that's true. They could be going that route. I'm just interested to know. You did see where CM Punk is in training, right? He's been training, and
Well, yeah, because he was
going to be
making
starring
that movie or TV series or something.
the TV series HBO Heels. Yeah.
Yeah.
They said he looks like he's in the best shape of his life. So
that's what I heard too, but it's hard to say when you're at that age now compared to when you were in your prime. But I think he's always stayed in shape though, for the most part. I mean, he did the stuff for a little bit, so. But let's see what else going on.
Well, I'm going to hopefully tomorrow have our Twitter. I'm gonna go ahead and set us up a Twitter.
Okay.
I know we haven't talked about this on the fly, but I figured I'd do it while we was on there with our listeners.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm hoping to have our Twitter set up tomorrow, just because I like that we can start tweeting out stuff. We see how like matches and stuff and like shows. So we're kind of being live with the audience. So when we do get the Twitter set up, guys, we'll definitely link that in on our Facebook page, and I will put it into on the YouTube channel. So hopefully, depending on the quality of this video, it'll be going up on our YouTube channel as well.
Right.
And I'll put it in the description box so you can go there and follow us on Twitter. Also, we really like to hear, like I said, again, we like to hear from the fans, our listeners. So like I said, our email will be in the description box. Hopefully you heard it. If not, hopefully my audio is good. It's 2dudeswithAttitude7@gmail.com. Love to hear from you on any of this conversation we've had tonight on this podcast.
Yeah. Definitely check us out on Spotify. That's our bigger one that we're going with for now. We like I said, it's up and running. That's the best way to really probably listen to us, the easiest way. Like I said, because we know not everybody has time to sit and watch a whole episode on YouTube at one time, but the audio is definitely up.
And we did try Google Podcast, didn't we?
Yeah. It says we were on there, but I'm not sure yet. I'll have to double check on that. I don't use Google Podcast.
We are trying, folks, to get.
Yeah. We've had some troubles with the Apple side of it. There's a little bit more technical side to putting it on there. We're waiting kind of word on Pandora. It's a little bit more technical issue, I guess, too. But we are for sure on Spotify.
Yes.
I thought we might be on the Google Podcast, but I don't use that, so I'm going to have to get the app and test it out and see to know for sure. But like I said, Spotify is free to use. And then we've been sharing the page on Buzzsprout. That's what we're using. That you can go on there and listen on there as well. But like I said, it's out there and it's easy to access and listen to. So.
Oh, definitely. And like I said, we got our Facebook, and like I said, hopefully tomorrow we'll have our Twitter up. And I got an idea. I'm gonna run it by my partner here after we're done with this podcast, see what he thinks. But for sure, we're gonna have a Twitter up tomorrow, and then so you'll be able to reach us on Twitter and on Facebook and through our email. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of weird. I feel like this episode we didn't have as much to go off of. I mean, there's always something big going on, but at the same time, it's kind of a slow week in wrestling. It seems so.
Yeah, and that's last week was crazy.
It was very crazy. We could have easily done 2 hours worth of content easily.
Oh yeah. And the good thing is, guys, too, is you know, Smackdown, we got Rampage. Um, if something happens and happens on Rampage or whatever, one of us will try to get on one something, and put a little info out, whether it's Twitter or Facebook or something.
Right.
Um, but yeah, it just seems like this one here, man, like uh, but I think that next week, going into next week from SummerSlam, man, so we should have a pretty good packed show going on.
Yeah, we should know. I would say by our next episode that we're going to do, we should easily know what the exact card's going to be, and then any kind of interesting rumors that could possibly happen. But yeah, we'll go from there and we'll see what happens.
Right.
So.
Well, man, I guess it's time for us to make that bon voyage.
Yeah, we'll wrap things up. Like I said, folks, we appreciate everybody tuning in and listening to us. We're slowly trying to build this up. Tell your friends, share it. That's all we can really ask for you, to share it with everybody, to, give us a like. Any downloads on Spotify, that's fine too. Any suggestions, don't be afraid to be critical about us. We want to know what we can do. We're always open for suggestions. Like I said, we're coming up with some ourselves, some stuff that we want to do. We're just kind of waiting to see, I guess, our subscriber side. Once we get some of the numbers up a little bit more, we're going to add some more stuff. Some little stuff in the works, things that we've been talking about. So, but yeah, I think that'd be it for tonight. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, this is Two Dudes with Attitudes Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Jason. This is.
And I'm John.
We appreciate y'all for checking in and listening to us. We'll see y'all next week.
Later, guys.